But let's move on. Let's move on to F1 here. And hey, if you're new here tonight, if you're new to our show, give us a like here, give us a follow. Give us a follow on Twitter as well, or give us a call in at the number that producer Ben's going to pop up here that you can call in the show, because I know these F1 topics are going to bring a lot of passion out of a lot of people. So, hey, we want to hear you. This is an interactive sports show. So give us a follow here. Give us a like on Comeback Sports and chime in here. Like I said, this is an interactive opinion show. So we want to hear your opinion as well. But let's move on tonight to topic number 6, and that's McLaren Mighty in Monza, or the Mighty McLaren at Monza, however you want to say it. But they were dominating here at the Italian Grand Prix.
No question. And you saw, at the end of the race, Daniel Ricciardo, I think he led for most of the race, and really just put together a nice drive for McLaren. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about disappointments this year in F1, and Daniel Ricciardo I know he's on the top of my list, and I think you agree with me as well. Everybody likes Daniel Ricciardo. He's a character. He's great on Drive to Survive. He's a charismatic guy. He's really good with the fans, and he's come into F1. He's had several, I think this was his 8th win in his career. But he's come in with a lot of fanfare over the past 5 years. He's bounced around. He's now in his third. Team in 5 years, I believe, or even 4 years, because he spent time with Red Bull, then with Renault, and now with McLaren. And he keeps signing these new deals, and you're like, when is this guy going to actually produce? And finally he puts together an awesome race. I don't think he has finished. I mean, he didn't finish better than 5th this year until Sunday. So now he's putting together, a first place win. It's just great to see. And then you have Landon Norris, his teammate, finishing 2nd. So McLaren is probably over the moon right now. I think this is the first time McLaren's gotten top spot in a Grand Prix since 2012. I think I read they haven't won a first place, gotten first place in a race in a long time, I think. Yep. And it's the first time that they've gotten both their teammates in the top 2 in 20 years or something like that. So very rare to see that. And I'm sure some of it, people are going to say, was aided by the fact that the 2 top drivers on the grid got in a crash early. But nobody year and see that's what happened. I mean, Ricciardo had a great drive, and so did Landon Norris. And McLaren obviously was so happy about this. And it's Ricciardo's first win since Monaco in 2018. So he had a slump, saying how much of a disappointment he is this year. With Renault, he wasn't lighting up the world either. I know the car probably wasn't as good there as he now has with McLaren, but it's good to see Ricciardo kind of back on top. He really needed this, I think, or else this streak could have ended at the end of the year where he might not have gotten a podium all season long. And then you're saying, what's going on with Daniel Ricciardo? So big win for him, big win for McLaren.
Yeah, man. I mean, quickly, you talked about how we talked about, first half season disappointments, and he was on both of our lists. But I want to toot my own horn, because I also said that he's going to bounce back. He's going to get a win. So go back and watch that clip. And producer Ben, he's not going to bring it up for you here now, but I guarantee you he's going to tag it at the end of this clip for you to be able to watch it. And that's basically that. I said he was going to bounce back. I knew he had the capabilities, and I believed him. He's one of my favorite drivers, so I knew this was going to happen. So I was extremely excited to see him get the win at the Italian Grand Prix, and I think he deserved it, man. Right from the start, had an amazing start off the line, past Max Verstappen with some great action off the start into turn 1, and basically didn't look back after that. Just led the whole race after that. And yeah, you can bring up how obviously Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton came together and they were taken out of the race. So the 2 championship foes and maybe his number 1 contenders to basically challenge him for that race were gone. But he still had a masterful drive to be able to not only basically race himself up there. And remember, this was a sprint race weekend. So he had himself a great job, did himself a great job in the sprint race to be able to put himself on the front row and also earn himself an extra few points. Right. But then he comes out, he gets that great start, passes Verstappen, which we all knew was going to be exciting considering these guys used to be teammates at Red Bull. And that was one of his former teams, like you said. So to see him come out, take it serious, have a great start, get ahead of Verstappen, and then, like I said, not look back, go ahead and get the win, his 8th win in Formula One. was just absolutely amazing, man. And I was excited to see it. Like I said, he's one of my favorite drivers, a guy that always will bring a smile to your face. He's always got a smile on his face. So I think a lot of us love Daniel Ricciardo, and I think the whole Formula One world is really happy to see that he got this dub. But for McLaren, boy, was this huge, not only in the constructors for them to gain 45 points in one weekend, the most in F1 that any team has gained this year, but also they got the first 1-2 of any team, I believe, this year. So it's just amazing, man. And like you said, the first 1-2 for McLaren in a lot of years. They haven't had this in a long time. And like you said, first win for Daniel Ricciardo going back to 2018. So I think this is something that the whole McLaren team can feel good about. Obviously, all the McLaren fans, and hey, I've been a big fan, and I've said it on the show, of Zach Brown, the team principal at McLaren. So I want to give him some credit for getting the team up here and driving the team back to where they need to be in Formula One. And so they can put out this product of getting a win and getting a P1 and P2 at the Italian Grand Prix. I think it's amazing. He brought up his teammate, Landon Norris. He had an amazing drive as well. But I want to bring up the point. At one point, Landon Norris came on and said, I think I might be faster. I think I'm quicker. And we obviously hear that a lot in Formula One when you want your teammate to move aside, and you might want to get a team order for your teammate to move aside. But when I heard that team radio, I said, Lando, come on, man. You're fighting for the win here. And your teammate's fighting for the win. At this point, if you're going to pull off a pass, it's got to be a clean one on your teammate. And then later, I'll tell you what, the maturity of Lando Norris kicked in. The team player of Lando Norris kicked in. A few laps later, he came back on the radio and said, do you want me to hold position? Do you want me to hold station right here? The team came back and said, yes, we do think that would be appropriate if you could just hold P2. And so that's what they did. He basically protected Ricciardo. But, you know, I don't want to say that he gave the win to Ricciardo. Ricciardo rightfully earned it and drove his way up there. But I think at that point, McLaren was saying a 1-2 is a lot bigger for us here going forward in the constructors, especially with our fight against Ferrari. So if we can hold this 1-2 as a team, this will be big for our team going forward. So I think that was huge for McLaren, like I said, for the season and for the constructors, but also big for Lando Norris, I believe, getting his third podium in Formula One. And I'm telling you, he will get that win, and it might happen this season with that McLaren car because it looks amazing, especially with that Mercedes engine. And it's going to power its way, I think, in a few other races here that is going to be up there, putting up a fight for Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton and Red Bull and Mercedes. So I think you got the four top teams right now are clear in Formula One, and that's Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari. And we're looking forward to the fight of those four teams going forward for the rest of the season.
Folks, if you like this show, you're watching it right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. That's Comeback Sports on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Comeback Sports. And then all the cut-ups that our awesome producer, Ben Kudo, puts together after the show, that'll all filter to your YouTube channel. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there in your subscriptions.